What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So we have some really good news. We actually have breaking news that the Senate moved to advance the $1.9 trillion stimulus package, and they did this along party lines. They actually held a vote earlier today, and this was split 50-50, so Vice President Kamala Harris had to come in and split this vote. She voted on the side of Democrats, which means the vote moves forward. So here's what this means. This is simply just a procedural vote. So even though it's yes, Democrats passed your whatever, right? You can get all this clickbait, but this is breaking news. This is really good because this means the clock has now started on a 20-hour. It's pretty much a 20-hour debate, right? That's pretty much what it is. Now, this opens the door for pretty much anything. Republicans can come in, debate things. Democrats can come in and debate different pieces. And one of the big things, which I actually explained earlier today, is that a senator, and I even addressed this last night as well, that one of the senators, Ron Johnson, he is actually proposing that I don't know who's going to read it, but somebody's going to read the entire bill, which was supposed to be 591 pages. It actually ballooned up a little bit, and now it's actually 628 pages based on the last reports. So what we know is that right now, or actually a few hours ago, the middle of today, the Senate passed this. So now the 20-hour clock starts, which means at the end of this, there will be a vote-a-rama. It's pretty much a marathon of just different amendments. This vote-a-rama could potentially last a couple days itself. However, some are saying right now that the big issue is that the Senate has to go through this 20 hours of debate, reading the text of the pretty much this entire bill, and some are saying that this should last approximately 10 hours to read the entire bill. And trust me, this will last at least 10 hours. This is a very boring bill to read. This is not the longest bill that the Congress has put in front of us. However, it's not a lot of fun to read this. What I can tell you is that Chuck Schumer stated this earlier today. He stated, and I quote, "No matter how long it takes, the Senate is going to stay in session to finish the bill this week." So, Chuck Schumer is pretty sure the Senate is going to finish the bill this week and they will pass it. And that's really good news. But then we still have to deal with the House, and I'll get to that in a minute. But here's what you need to understand. Ron Johnson proposed, or pretty much put an amendment out there, that we need to see and hear the full text of this bill. Well, fine. Chuck Schumer had this to say after that request from Ron Johnson. Chuck Schumer said, and I quote, "We Democrats want America to hear what's in the bill, what's in the plan. And if the senator from Wisconsin wants to read it, let everyone listen because it has overwhelming support," which it does. I'm not one to side with Democrats or Republicans. I try to stay right in the middle. But what I can tell you is roughly 75% of Americans agree that this bill needs to pass. However, these statistics and these studies, these polls, they don't go into the exact details. Are 75% of people agreeing because they want to see a $1,400 stimulus check? Are they agreeing on this because they want to see additional unemployment benefits? Or do they want to see this child tax credit and money go to state and local governments, vaccine funding, and so on and so forth? Right now, there's no indication that everybody wants state and local government funding or everybody wants a $1,400 stimulus check. If I had to choose, I think more people would go with state and local, just joking, more people would go with the $1,400 stimulus check than state and local government funding. That's just the way the American people are. It's just the way we are, human beings. In nature, yes, we obviously want more money. So here's one thing that you need to know. Right now, there were changes to this bill that were made over the last 48 hours. The first change that you probably already know about, at least everybody that follows me here on this channel do, that the $1,400 stimulus checks will be more targeted. They will go not to the exact same people that had them before. And according to recent reports, about 92% of the American people received a check for the $1,200. About 90% received the $600 check. Well, 89% of the American people are going to receive this $1,400 check. Here's the difference. Instead of getting a check if you made $150,000 to $200,000 as a couple, you are going to be cut off at $160,000 as an individual, you will be cut off so at $75,000, you get a full $1,400 stimulus check and below. But if you make between $75,000 and $80,000, you get a modified, your kind of slightly reduced stimulus check. Anything over 80, you get absolutely nothing. So that was a major change. There also will not be any additional unemployment benefits extended through September. This is something we could see change in the House by progressives, but at this point, I don't see that happening. The big thing that I see progressives pushing back on are the $1,400 stimulus checks. We also know that the unemployment benefit will still last through August 29th, and it will only be for $400. They are not going to reduce it down to $300, and they're not going to boost it up to $600. There are also no automatic triggers in this bill either. Now, although we won't see any cuts to state and local government funding, this is something that a lot of people were wanting. But what we will see, according to the recent reports, is that there will be roughly an additional $30 billion going to school funding. It's going to go up from $170 up to $200 billion, and some are saying that this money is coming from the $15 federal minimum wage cut that was taken out of this bill. However, we still haven't seen the exact bill or anything from the Congressional Budget Office yet as to where this money is coming from. But we are being told this will still be for $1.9 trillion. So even though things have been pulled out, the bill is not going to be any smaller. Not sure exactly how that works unless they just repurpose and redistribute that money, but that's kind of what it's looking like. So what we know right now is that a vote could happen as early as this weekend. That is according to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. And this is really good. And here's the reason why. Reports indicate that Democrats, they didn't have everything they wanted in this bill, or at least Senate Democrats didn't. However, they pretty much came to the conclusion that if they took too much more time, then the House wouldn't have enough time to possibly debate this, whip the caucus, on board and get them to vote, yes to this bill. And if they took too much longer and they didn't get it done this weekend, then the House might not have enough time to, make any changes if they need to, and then kick it back to Senate and so on and so forth. So it really came down to the vote had to happen today to provide for the 20 hours of debate, then go on to the vote-a-rama, which could potentially happen maybe late tomorrow, possibly over the weekend, and then you can finally vote on this after the vote-a-rama and see the bill passed. That will be good. But it might not be kicked over to the House until possibly Monday or Tuesday, which means as long as the House can debate it, get it passed, it would go over to President Biden's desk possibly the end of next week. That would be good. This means that we could get this package passed before the March 14th expiration of the unemployment insurance benefits. So right now, everybody is pretty much predicting that we are going to see this pass. It's going to happen, and it should happen fairly quickly. That is great news. The only problem is what happens in the House. What I can tell you, as of right now, there are some progressives that are still fairly upset by these changes made to the $1,400 stimulus checks. However, there are some reports that are stating that these progressives are not extremely upset at to the fact that they will not support the bill, but they will try to create some additional stimulus in the future. So I'm not saying that we're going to see an additional, $600, maybe $1,200, maybe a $1,400 stimulus check, for the infrastructure bill, but we could. There have been talks. There's rumors out there. Now, these are mostly from Twitter, from lawmakers, from representatives and our senators. However, there are some that are addressing additional stimulus. Even Richard Neal, who's he's the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee in the House, he stated that this package for $1.9 trillion is not technically a stimulus package. He's saying this is more of a COVID relief package. But the infrastructure bill, that will be a stimulus package because there's going to be a lot more stuff in there for jobs. It's going to help the economy recover and rebound. And this could potentially, include additional relief for the American people. Now, I don't know to what extent he's talking about. I don't know exactly what we're going to see. But what I can tell you is I think what's happening is President Biden is setting himself up. And again, this is just my take. There's no expert or anything, just the guy off of YouTube, right? My take on this is President Biden is setting himself up to spend more money on the infrastructure bill, because that is actually going to create more jobs. That is actually going to bring the economy back. This bill right here is pretty much being, it's kind of being talked about or considered just a relief bill, not for January, February, and March, and moving forward. This is a relief bill from like September, October, November, and December. That's what we're hearing. Okay, so I think everything that we're hearing right now is fairly good news. Yes, we could still use a $15 minimum wage at some point, maybe not right now during a pandemic, probably not the best thing, but some form of hazard pay, additional benefits here and there for the essential workers. I think that's needed. There needs to be more for Social Security. We're hearing that we could potentially see this in the infrastructure bill, but as of right now, until President Biden, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, or one of the senior Democrats comes forward with a proposal to provide for senior citizens, anybody on Social Security, people on a fixed income, college students as well. Until we see something like that, it's really just hearsay, really just people speculating as to what we might see. So again, I think right now this is really good. I think we're getting somewhere. We just got to kind of go through that time frame, pretty much let the Senate do their thing, get this bill passed, or at least have it voted on, hopefully in the next couple of days. We will hear some different amendments. Hopefully some of these amendments will be good and be beneficial for the American people, but as of right now, we just don't know. So that's kind of where we're at right now. As always, if you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. I'll try to get to them as quickly as possible. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Also, consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.